not admitted without parents or guardian. Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian. Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian.
Good evening, fans of fantastic films, and welcome once again to the Drive-In ASYLUM double feature. And I'm Bill Van Ryn, editor of fanzine Drive-In ASYLUM. With me on tonight's first segment is Gene from the Drive-In Super Monster-Rama. Hi, Gene.
Hey, Bill, what's up?
How are you?
Stuffy tonight, but I think I can get through this.
You're not the other face that's usually in the box with me on these programs.
No, I am not. I guess he's out wrestling tonight.
That's right. Sam is at a wrestling match as we speak, but he will be back on tonight's second segment. And when it's time to do the cocktails, he sent a video for us to watch. So
good. Yep.
He'll be kind of with us on this segment. But for now, you're stuck with both of us, me and Gene. We're going to talk about lots of fantastic things tonight, especially the upcoming Super Drive-In Monster-Rama. Oops. I got rid of the wrong box. Sorry. So we're this at the end of this month, the 29th and the 30th of April, we've got the Super Drive-In Monster-Rama at the Riverside Drive-In in Vandergrift, PA. Applause comes in many different forms.
I wish we had a trailer, but we're maybe this week we'll have a trailer. We had some problems with the trailer coming around, and we're hoping we have something to show just for the fact that we have something to show. At this point, we don't have a trailer available. However, we got a big weekend coming up in 2 weeks. It's hard to believe that we've already gone halfway through the month. Literally today is halfway through the month. And it'll be the 29th and the 30th, hopefully nice weather, because God knows it could snow tonight or tomorrow in Pittsburgh. And we're looking at 8 movies total that weekend. Folks have come out and been with us at other shows. You know what to expect. The first night we have a double feature. It kicks off with 2 movies with one of my favorite actresses, Jamie Lee Curtis. The first movie, of course, being Halloween 2. It's a movie that's been coming a long time because actually we showed Halloween at an April Ghouls event a long time ago. We also showed Halloween 3 last year. I know that it's one of your favorites, Halloween 2. So that's coming, and it's going to be followed by Terror Train, which is somewhat of an underrated film in many ways. It's an excellent movie. I watched it every year on New Year's Eve, actually. It's a good film, very similar in structure to the Halloween movies, taking place in one night, which is New Year's Eve, with a bunch of drunk kids. It's a good film, followed by Midnight and Effects, and this was a big deal to us. In fact, it's the first time these films have been shown on a drive-in screen in Pittsburgh. Back to back. I don't know if these films were shown back in the day on a drive-in screen or not. Maybe you can do some research, Bill, for that. I don't have any idea. For either of the films, Midnight or Effects, were they ever shown?
Oh yeah, they both were.
Not together. Did we ever see them together back in the day?
No, not together.
So yeah, well, this is the first time together. There's kind of a story with this whole thing. So Midnight was a movie from John Russo. You're familiar with John Russo from, of course, Night of the Living Dead and such. And John Amplas is in this film, and a lot of other Pittsburgh talent. And of course, in effects, we have Tom Savini as well, and Anthony Pilato, I believe. So from what, Day of the Dead? So it's like
John Harrison.
What's that?
John Harrison.
And John Harrison as well, right? And Deborah Green, what's her name? Deborah something or other. Deborah Green, maybe, that was in Blood-Sucking Pharaohs of Pittsburgh. I think that's what her name was. Anyway, these films are important to the Pittsburgh area because they are very much the same type of movie that we saw with Night of the Living Dead back in the 60s. They're independent films. And just very reflective of Pittsburgh filmmaking. So we felt, George and I talked about it. George is actually here on the thread tonight. And
hey, George.
Hey, George. And we talked about it. And we thought, you know what? They're both out on Blu-ray now and available, sort of remastered. So it's like, what the hell? Let's throw them back to back and put them up and pay back, the Pittsburgh filmmaking. So George is asking, where is this event taking place? Riverside Drive-In, Vandergrift, Pennsylvania, about 30 minutes outside of Pittsburgh, Monroeville, passing Monroeville East. And they have great food, so you should come. All right. Saturday night. That's a t-shirt. Come on, Bill. So Saturday night, we start out with The Evil Dead 2, which is something we've been talking about doing for a number of years. We've also shown Evil Dead 1 in a previous event, followed by The Reanimator, which has been a highly requested film by patrons of our events, followed by Dr. Butcher MD. Why that film? Because I became reacquainted with it, realizing I didn't have it on Blu-ray, and I bought it. And George and I were talking one night, and I said, you know what? I go, we got to show this film because it's an Italian zombie film with cannibals. It has everything. It's disgusting. It's a perfect thing for the drive-in. It's just
it's amazing.
Okay,
I'm really glad you're showing it.
Right. It's just offensive enough that it's going to draw attention. It's perfect. And, there's sort of a theme going on here, too, because you got Reanimator, which is a doctor bringing people back from the dead, followed by Dr. Butcher, which is a doctor bringing people back from the dead. And George is like, why not Zombie 3? Another underrated film, partially filmed, I believe, by, and I'm sure Sam knows more about this, partially filmed by Lucio Fulci in the Philippines. And it's just a great 80s movie because it has all the elements of the 1980s. It's got bimbos and short shirts or shorts rather. It's got boom boxes, soldiers, zombies, flying zombie heads, and jeeps in a jungle. So it's perfect. That's my buddy Jake. Hi, Jake. Glad to see you here tonight. Jake is an absolute expert in Japanese horror, by the way. He knows everything. He's a walking encyclopedia. Good to have you with us tonight. Now, Bill had up a slide of the shirt. The shirts are available. I'm wearing one right now. We licensed the image from actually from the movie Midnight, and Bill was the one that put it together for us and also put the logo together and everything. And the shirts are still available. You can order them through the website, through PayPal. You follow the instructions. And I advise, if you have any interest in this shirt, that you should purchase it either for pickup at the event or by mail for $7 extra from the pricing listed on there, because they are selling like crazy and they are officially out of print already. I tried to have more of them made from Fast Custom Shirts, and he already wiped the screen. So all that exists is what we have.
Yeah, that happens pretty quickly. I tried to do that too.
Yeah, he had it for like 2 or 3 weeks, and we had an issue with having to order some additional larger size shirts. By the way, we don't have any larger size shirts available that night. There are no 4 or 5Xs, none. They were special order only. We don't have them. If they weren't ordered and they're not for pickup, they're not available. So that's not going to happen. But we have small up through triple X, and the triple Xs are selling like crazy. So are the small mediums. So I would order or reserve for pickup as quickly as possible if you guys want a shirt. So, and the concept of the shirt was just like a black and white kind of rock and roll because it's going to be kind of like an 80s rock and roll kind of night. That's what we're going for with this one. It's a little different from the last 80s show. But this is our second 80s show that we have done. This is a follow-up to last year's 80s weekend show. So we're very excited about it. The first show of the season in April is always a big deal for us. And of course, we do a show in September, which is Super Monster-Rama, and it's more dedicated to older films. It's not quite as it's not geared towards the demographics of the 70s and 80s horror films, but it's a great time. And actually, last year we did the Jalapalooza, and it was another sellout. It was amazing to see so much support in Pittsburgh for Italian horror films. Not what I expected by any means. I have to say that. Where's
Sam when you need him?
Yeah, he's
the way you pronounce Giallo was even more interesting. He has a very unique way of saying it too.
Well, whatever.
Whatever. Nobody cares.
No one cares. No one cares.
Well, people care, but they're annoying. Anyway, I can't wait for this. So many movies that I've been dying to see big screen are being shown this time. You mentioned that this time was a rock and roll theme, but last time you showed Trick or Treat.
Right.
Wasn't that last year's?
Oh, gee. That's the worst thing for me. I think it was. Wasn't it?
They all blend together.
They don't for George. George is a walking encyclopedia about this, but I totally... I'm wiped after we do, we only do 2 shows a year, and that's all we want to do because we both work in like offices the rest of the year, and a lot goes into this, believe me, by the time we put the films together. Sure. and all this stuff. So it's about quality with us and not quantity. And I don't remember a lot of what we've shown what year. I know I can tell you we've shown it. I'm not 100% sure what year. We'll be up to, I believe, 16 years in fall. And I think this is the 8th April that we're doing. So I didn't start working on these with him until about halfway through. I actually have been to every show. But yeah, I didn't start working on them until halfway through. So it's sort of my anniversary, I guess, of 8 years for both of them, right? This year. So that's what we got planned. And we're already looking forward to September. Well, we have some stuff we're starting to talk about for September and already for next April. So we're ready.
See, I was way off.
George is saying 2 or 3 years ago for Trick.
Yeah.
Yep.
It all runs together. It's still the very first one for me where I saw for the very first time Sugar Hill.
Right.
I had never seen that movie until the Monster-Rama, and also Blood and Lace.
Right.
Which unfortunately was one of those movies I never watched on TV when I was a kid because I thought it looked really stupid. Well, it kind of is stupid, but I didn't know how wonderful
it's more of a melodrama than it really is a horror film anyway. I mean, there was a number of films during that time period that came out, like Point of Terror and Blood Mania and Blood and Lace or whatever. And the thing is that they were sort of like, I don't know, they were like horror versions of Beyond the Valley of the Dolls or something. I mean, they were outlandish, really outlandish, sort of groovy, kooky characters that were involved in murders and stuff. And it was something that they could easily edit for afternoon television. If you have the Blu-ray, the Vinegar Syndrome put out for Point of Terror and Blood Mania, I believe both of those movies have TV edit versions on that Blu-ray, and you can see a drastic difference between the two of them. So,
well, Blood Mania especially, because there's not a lot that happens in that movie, and we've been over that before. But movies where nothing happens. A little bit more happens in the TV version of Blood Mania. I think there was, and it wasn't that they cut things out.
No,
they went back and filmed things to put in.
Right.
Which is pretty amazing. Because, why did they need that?
They fit into a syndication package is why they needed. I mean, they wanted more time for the film to run. And it was part of a syndication package. So that's why they did it. There's a number of movies that follow that sort of groovy premise from that period. Darren is asking, are they showing 35 millimeter prints? Yeah. No, we're not. We're not showing 35 millimeter prints. For the first many years that George did this, and I worked with him, we did all 35 millimeter prints. And the problem with it is it's very hard to get these films in 35 millimeter. And when you do, they're pink and they look like garbage. So if you were seeing this movie back in the day, it wouldn't have been pink and it wouldn't have looked awful. It would have looked clear. So as they're coming out available now on DCP, it just is a lot easier to go to that format. To try to, that actually creates, I mean, think about it though, really, who's really having a 35 millimeter experience? We are, because we're in the control room. You guys are sitting in a car. So, you know, you're not seeing the projector running all this stuff. So I personally would rather see the films in a clear format than I would, you know, with pink.
It doesn't really make a difference to me. It's just kind of like, you know, it is cool. I think there is a difference between DCP and 35 millimeter. I can tell the difference, but I don't really care. You know, it's not like I still want to see these movies. And, you know, it's like you said, you're not going to find a really nice 35 millimeter print of some of these movies, like especially Zombie 3.
Right. And some people,
like, could you do that? Could you even
no, I'm responding to Vince. He says 35 millimeter for him. Yeah, you know what? I'm all for it, but we did it for how many years already? So we're moving on to something else.
If you have access to it, it's great, you know.
Right, exactly. That's the whole point, you know. So it's like,
I don't think it has to be one or the other, you know. That was my point.
Well, you know, and that's the truth. It's just like, you're getting a great experience for, like, you know, for $10 per night, you're getting 4 films, which is unheard of. You're not going to hear that anywhere else or see that anywhere else. And on top of that, if you want to camp at the Riverside, it's $10 per person per night to camp at the Riverside. And they even give you a free breakfast in the morning. And one of the most interesting, you know, stories is that several times, you know, Tom Savini has cooked that breakfast, because he's a regular customer of these shows, and he camps out. He brings a RV and he camps. And, you know, people have said, I mean, I've never spent the night at the Riverside because I live local, but people have said that, you know, it's a crazy experience to go get breakfast in the morning and find Tom Savini flipping your bacon and eggs. So,
plus, this is a whole experience.
That's kind of exciting, right?
The Monster-Rama it's a whole experience. You've got not only the movies, but you've got a lot of trailers in between the movies, and also a lot of vintage drive-in intermission reels.
Right.
Occasionally, the program has been padded out a little bit with Three Stooges shorts, cartoons, and it always starts with one of those vintage national anthem reels, which I love.
Absolutely. You know, and Todd, one of the owners and the projectionist at the Riverside, he actually, you know, he has those remastered vintage shorts now, the intermission shorts, which are spectacular. Yeah, it's great to see all your favorite intermission shorts. I mean, there's just something about leaving the car to, like, you know, the hot dog dancing theme to go get, you know, funnel cakes or something. That's like a great part of the whole thing. And I wanted to address Tracy Palma here too. I wanted to say, Tracy, here's one of the things about 35 millimeter that's going to be a big issue. They only last for so long. And if these films are back in distribution and people are showing them, every time you show one of those prints, it goes downhill just a little bit further. So enjoy 35 millimeter while you can, because they're not going to last forever. You know, they've maintained a decent shape because they haven't been shown over the years, but now they're being shown again. And, you know, every time you show them, you run the risk of destroying the print or having the print damaged in some way. So it's you know, it's sort of a big issue right there. You know, I mean, if you want to collect these films and keep them forever as a private collector, or allow people to show them or show them yourself, and then you're running the risk every time that that's the last time you're going to see that film, at least intact. You know, and I never thought about.
How dare you say that Guru the Mad Monk is a crappy movie?
Well, you know, anything that Andy Milligan did is brilliant, but that's beside the point. But, you know, the thing is, you know, I collect like a lot of Dark Shadows stuff, and I have a couple of copies of the Barnabas Collins game, and I played it one time and posted pictures of us playing it on Facebook, and I got all kinds of really shitty comments, like emails or messages saying, why would you play that game? Every time you play that game, you destroy it. You know, and it kind of fits into the whole thing. Do you want to enjoy these items for what they are, you know, and use them, or are you simply just going to put them somewhere and preserve them? So that's another.
This is not a still life. You can actually use your stuff.
Exactly. And I agree with Mike Justice. Guru is one of my least favorite Andy Milligan films as well.
It's one of my faves.
That's one of Bill's faves.
I just love all the actors in Guru, and I love the fact. Well, it's got all those Milligan hallmarks, like
Oh, absolutely.
something amazing in the movie that is not the point of the movie. Like somehow the point of Guru is, Guru, this grave robbing monk, and like the torture and everything, and then there's a character who's a vampire.
Right.
She's just a vampire.
Well, he was writing it. He was writing it as he was going. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I have a couple of books about the guy. And you remember how many years ago you and I actually discovered him? I mean, we discovered Andy Milligan decades ago, and it was like, oh my God, this is like the John Waters of horror.
Yeah.
But isn't that the movie? Isn't Guru the one where they film on the Staten Island beach and there's like a pop can or something in the background? If I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember. It's mostly set inside of a like an institution that's supposed to be a big church. I think they actually filmed at least an exterior at a church. So
John is asking about the vampire teeth. Yeah, and I played it with my friend Loretta, and she kicked my ass twice. So she got to wear the vampire teeth. We didn't put the vintage vampire teeth in actually, because God.
Oh, thank God.
Where that's been for decades. We put in vampire teeth, which we had a bag of actually. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I love that game. I used to play that game as a kid. That was one of the big things back in the 70s was that game. So it was everything was great back in the 70s. All the games from Milton Bradley were spectacular. Now they should reissue them, like Witch and The Mummy Speaks and Green Ghost. It would be spectacular to have these back after all these years, right? Since people are back to board games, from what I understand, it would be nice to have new copies.
They're a little more elaborate than they were back in the day,
right.
though.
Well, that's
like the board games that people are into now are very elaborate, like role-playing things.
Sure, right. Well, times change. I saw a meme last week, which I'd forgotten about, where they had taken Witch, and they turned it into a House by the Cemetery game. Have you seen that? And it's like,
oh, those are Kinder Trauma.
The Kinder Trauma stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd kill to own an actual game for House by the Cemetery.
Uncle Lancifer and Aunt John from Kinder Trauma.
Right, their work is absolutely spectacular. So yeah,
they're amazing.
I know.
My Uncle Lancifer's been in Drive-In ASYLUM a couple of times, and I wrote a couple of things for at least one or two things for Kinder Trauma. So we love those guys. Hey, by the way, Gene, happy Easter.
Thank you.
I have something amazing to show our audience in keeping with this Easter thing. Easter, I hate Easter, but we won't go there.
Another Thanksgiving is what it is.
Right.
I always like to go on Facebook at Thanksgiving and go, what time are you coloring the eggs? And then I guarantee you someone's thinking about the fact that they didn't color eggs for Thanksgiving.
So here's something cool. Bradley Still Harding, who you've seen on the program a couple of times, his hubby Dan Greminger made these fantastic Easter eggs for their Messiah of Evil Easter eggs.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Check this out.
That's fucking great.
This is amazing, and you can see all four characters there. This is something that you should pay for. You should be able to go down to the store and make like a template of these or something. Here we have Benny Robinson egg, who plays the albino trucker, a Joy Bang egg, and she's over it and about to get eaten. Mariana Hill egg with a bleeding eyeball, and of course Anitra Ford in her final supermarket visit.
Oh my, Anitra rocks.
She does. So happy Easter, guys, and happy Easter to all of you out there who celebrate.
Happy Thanksgiving.
If you're like me and you don't, let's just go party, huh? And speaking of partying, well, it goes without saying Sam Panico is not on this broadcast. He'll be on the second segment, though.
He might be on the second segment.
Well, I hope. I don't have anything else planned for this.
Sam Panico.
But in the meantime, it could be cocktail time anyway. So here is Sam on video to do our first drink of the evening. Welcome, Sam.
Hey guys, I'll be back later on tonight, and here's how to make the drink. This is very simple. It's 2 ounces of cranberry juice, and then we're going to do 2 ounces of pineapple juice. And then here's the hard to find ingredient, lychee nectar. I luckily have an Indo-Asian store in my neighborhood, and I found that. We're going to do 4 ounces of that. I wonder, is this glass big enough? Who knows? What does lychee nectar taste like? Who knows? But it seemed good for this drink, the Lady Mania. Finally, let's give that all a stir. Take a little sip off the top. And then we're going to add 2 ounces of Tito's. And to the top of that. There we go. Now finally, let's give that one more stir. Pretty color, huh? And Pazuzu. See you in a bit, Sam. Thanks for beaming in for our first segment. I'm still in the process of making my beverage of the evening, so it's not Pazuzu yet. So I just put together
there in the studio.
What's that?
You have a little bar in the studio.
I do. And it's time for a cocktail. Mine is just, I always make a melon ball because it's simple. I don't have to get a grocery list out for the ingredients. I have them all here. The way I see it,
like Justin says, he loves this Passover episode, Bill.
You remember when Cher was going on and on about how much she loved the blue stuff equal, and her reason for using it was it's just there. I like it. Always brutally honest.
She's Cher. She doesn't need a reason why.
So anyhow, I am ready. Gene, you don't have a beverage, probably.
I have a shirt.
That is not a beverage, but that's okay.
We have an orange tiki mug full of non-alcoholic drink.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, Pazuzu to you.
Cheers.
And to all of you.
Cheers. And I wanted to say hi to my friend Pete in Edinburgh. If you're on or you watch tomorrow, Pete, have a good one. That's it. All right. Should we talk about these movies?
Yes. Our first movie of the evening is Sweet Home from 1989. This is a movie that I haven't seen yet, and this is going to be the first time I watched it.
Cheers, Steve.
So you've seen it though at least once, right?
I've seen it, and you know what? The thing about this movie is that what's from Toho, which is notice how flamboyant this film becomes because it's from Toho. And the thing that I want you guys to notice watching both of these movies tonight, 2 things about world cinema features, Japanese features, whatever, depending on the country. Make sure you look at the stuff that's being sort of, I don't like to say stolen, but, sort of used, that's similar to Western film.
You can say stolen.
And both of these movies. And it's interesting to see these films through the eyes of another culture, Japanese filmmaking in particular. Also, the thing that I noticed about both of these movies, because they're outrageous, is that with Japanese films, and for instance, in Italian films as well, but in particular Japanese films, there's absolutely whatever happens. It's like, they go for it. There's no definitive expectations. They just do crazy shit. And both of these movies go in crazy directions. So, realize that there's no boundaries when you're watching these. It's like whatever they felt like doing, they do. And you find that so often with Japanese movies. It's very refreshing, because even with the films that are coming out today, these reboots and reimaginings, whatever you want to call them, they're not doing anything as spectacular as what we were seeing in the 1990s with J-horror. I mean, Japanese horror has influenced Western culture so much, including remakes of Japanese horror films. But it's because they have no limitations. They just go, okay, will drop a knife out of the ceiling and kill somebody. Why? It doesn't matter. And Dario Argento, I think, influenced both of these movies. In fact, in the second one, I think you hear a lot of music that sounds like it's by Goblin. You know,
the second one is very Argento.
Yeah,
Evil Dead Trap is very Argento.
Even and you know, and the interesting thing about that film, Evil Dead Trap, is like it's sort of an homages Evil Dead as well, because there are these crazy scenes outside where like something invisible is flying around like it's attacking people in black and white, you know, and that obviously that sort of reminds me of the two Evil Dead films. But they're wonderfully shot, highly imaginative films. You couldn't have picked a better two films from that time period to represent Japanese horror. You know, they're just great.
This is a very the director of this film, his name is Kiyoshi Kurosawa. No relation to the more famous Kurosawa, but Kiyoshi Kurosawa made a name for himself on his own. He has done, you know, numerous J horror films, including Cure from 1997.
Right,
which I have seen, and also Pulse.
I was just about to tell you, you got to mention Pulse, which is one of my favorite Japanese horror films, which was poorly remade in America. You know, Pulse is incredible. So if one thing you'll learn tonight, you'll learn how to say "help me" in Japanese, which is "Tuskade, Tuskade, Tuskade," and then you'll die anyway, so it doesn't matter. But
yeah, I'm not a really big fan of American remakes of Asian horror films like The Ring.
Right.
I think I saw the remake first.
Right.
And then I saw the original and I was like, wow, I'm not just being, you know, trite. It really is a lot better than the American one. I don't know where they came up with some of the stuff that it was in the American version. You know, it just was watered down.
Well, and the other thing too is I think the Japanese really get a try. I mean, I actually know enough Japanese people to make the statement. They get a chuckle out of the reboots here in America. You know, it's like a whole. You know, they're obsessed with Japanese filmmaking, and anime is obsessed with constantly making new versions of the same thing over and over and slightly changing it. So when they see stuff like this, they were very enamored by, like, you know, the Godzilla film. So not the abortion Godzilla film with what's his name from the 1990s, that horrible thing that came out. But, you know, when was that movie? Was that in the 90s? That Japanese?
It was 98,
American
I think.
Thing was awful. But anyway, I was going to say starring Robbie Benson. That's for a moment. But, you know, that's because I have Ice Castles on my mind because George still wants to show that film. But anyway, you know, you see, so these films like what was The Ring, and then Ju-on came out over here. Didn't Dark Waters also get a remake in America as well? What other films were out over there that got remakes over here? Anything in particular? We never got an American Evil Dead Trap or Sweet Home, or I can't think of any more.
There's something else that's escaping me right now, but yeah, it's not. It has to be. Well, I guess someone in chat mentioned The Grudge,
right? And Pulse, of course. Pulse was another one. You know,
yeah. What was the one about the eyeball?
I was gonna say The Eye. That was the other one.
Wasn't The Eye an Asian horror film first?
There was a one where she sees dead people essentially from having an eye, and it was The Eye. And then there was another one that was really famous, which was called the one with the phone that kept dialing from the dead.
One Missed Call.
Yeah, I think that's what it was called, or something like that.
I think it's One Missed Call. Yeah.
I have that one too on import DVD from back in the day. You know, yeah, Tracy saying One Missed Call. Yeah, you know, and there's something unique. You know, throughout. You know, if you look way back into like Japanese folklore and filmmaking in the 40s, 50s, whatever, the early stuff Toho did. You know, there's always an ongoing theme, and it's always about revenge and always about something terrible that happened that generations have to suffer for until it's sort of fixed. And you see both of these themes prevalent in both of these movies tonight, not giving too much away. Attack of the Mushroom People, John, was a terrifying film when I was a kid. Man, Tango put me over the edge.
Yeah.
Have you shown that on here?
No, we never did that one.
Oh my God.
There's so many movies. There's so many movies that people are always like, oh, you never showed this movie? Well, right. You know, we've only done 86 episodes so far, so give us some time. We'll do
Battle Royale came back as the Hunger Games, absolutely. You know, and again, if you're watching, like, what was the recent? Okay, I don't know if you guys saw Sweet Home, the Korean version about the end of the world and the mutants attacking the high rise. That's a phenomenal production. What was the movie that was just the series that was just out with the kids killing each other again? It was like Battle Royale. The one that just was out this past year. It was huge. Anybody out there? I'm drawing a complete blank here. It was about a competition thing where people were killing each other, and it became Netflix like #1 show. It's again, there's no boundaries in this Japanese stuff. There's no boundaries. They just do what they want to do, and I think that it's obviously selling in this country. Maybe Hollywood should take a clue from this and try something different. And it doesn't seem to happen that often. So, hey Gigi, she just popped in.
Hey Gigi, hello to everyone else in chat too. I don't know if we actually chimed in and welcomed everybody in the chat because we've just been talking, but it's nice to see all of you. And I see that everyone already hit like, so thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah, so that's good stuff. So I'm thinking what else we need to know about tonight. You said the first movie was adapted from a video game or something, which I was not aware of. I didn't read liner notes on that.
There is a video game connection to this. There was a video called Sweet Home for the Nintendo system based. I don't know whether this movie is based on the video game or the other way around, but it was that's pretty exciting. This was and this was a direct influence on the Resident Evil series of video games as well. Sweet Home was. So that's a lot of fun, an 80s video tie-in.
Right.
And now everything's a video game tie-in now.
Right. But so the Japanese were kind of ahead of the game with these productions, I guess.
Always ahead of the game.
No, absolutely. Totally, absolutely. It's just great stuff. Japanese horror is great stuff. And hopefully these films tonight will inspire everybody. And I'm sure you're all experts already that see more films like this. It's always worth to go back and find these older films and to watch them and to see what they influenced and follow through with that. That's what's great about fandom. And I always find I know Bill's the same way. I mean, I've known God, Bill, how many years have I known you? It's the same thing. We're the relentless search for new films all the time. Something inspires something else and something else and something else. And, it's a relentless quest.
Another thing we should mention about this, the makeup effects in this movie were done by Dick Smith.
Okay.
So that's pretty exciting.
It was actually. Right.
And they play that up in the trailer as well. This was obviously later in his career.
Right.
It was before Monsters, because he did a lot of the effects on the TV show Monsters. Or, at least it was concurrent with Monsters. And that's a lot of fun, Dick Smith. He did, of course, The Exorcist. Well, if you're not aware of it,
Barnabas Collins and Dark Shadows as well.
Also, Dark Shadows. Yeah,
he's done a lot of stuff. Dick Smith was a big. Did he do the Planet of the Apes or no?
I don't think he did the Planet of the Apes. Maybe no, he didn't. He did do, of course, The Exorcist. I think I mentioned it.
Right.
The ghouls in the Sentinel.
Yeah. I love
which is really
just thinking about that the other day, actually,
The Sentinel.
Yeah, I love that movie. I just love the feel of it. It's so good.
Ghost Story. He did that got a lot of press in Fangoria and Famous Monsters back in the day. Ghost Story.
And John Fulcher is asking about a black and white Japanese horror show where they were finding monsters. Wasn't that the prequel to Ultraman called Ultra Q? If you've not seen the Ultra Q series, which was 1 year or so before the first Ultraman series, the production is absolutely incredible. You need to check that out. It's good stuff. It's out on Blu-ray, actually, fairly cheap. Pick it up. It's amazing. George met Dick Smith. George lives.
That's exciting.
George has met so many celebrities back in the day because George had access to growing up in New York City from Long Island. And, it's amazing. Back when they didn't charge $50 for an autograph or $70 for a photo like they do now, George had the privilege of meeting quite a few famous people back in the day, especially Hammer film celebrities. So jealous. He met Robert Quarry. Yeah, hello.
Count Yorga
Yeah,
himself.
hello. That's a big deal.
Vincent Price's best friend.
Was he really? I didn't know that.
No, they didn't.
I'm sure
like
they
each
hated
other.
each other. I'm quite sure. That was a bitch fest.
Vincent Price was really mean to him on the set of Dr. Fives
I believe
Rises
it.
Again.
I believe it. I believe it. I totally do. I'm sure. So he said, yeah, George said it was a free autograph. Yeah, back in the day. It's not like the prices now, and they're bumping up again. The prices are going up again, I'm told. So be prepared to pay more for signed stuff.
The only person I met like back in the day before like the modern kind of convention where people charge for a photo and an autograph and everything, I did meet Adam West.
Did you?
I met Adam West at a car show or something, and he was signing autographs. So I still have it somewhere, the signed 8x10. At least I'm pretty sure it was Adam West because he was wearing the cowl. So it could have been anybody under there. But he signed an 8x10 black and white of Adam West for me. So I'm assuming it was him.
George also met William Marshall as well, Blacula. So
I am so jealous of that. I would have loved to have met Bill Marshall.
Yeah, he's an amazing man. I mean, people, I was explaining to a coworker actually about Blacula during February, and she just thought the whole thing was funny. And I said, you know what? He actually does a spectacular job in that movie. He's a very good actor. He played it all very seriously. If you watch the blaxploitation documentary, there was a lot of shit that went on during that time at that set. They wanted AIP wanted to make a film that would be reflective of blaxploitation, but with horror. But they were still not treated with equality on that set, from what I understand. They weren't given the things that they needed, and it was a rough time to be a black actor in film, let alone in a horror film at the time. So.
Well, that was also a black director, William Crane,
which wasn't given what he wanted, from what I understand. Like, they didn't get preference the way that they should have from AIP for stuff. They were just, really like, make the damn film and be done with it. That blaxploitation.
You can't expect too much from American.
No, you can't. You're right. But I mean, it's like that documentary. I can't think of the name of it. It's really, really good. At least the first half of it is, and it's sort of degraded into like these people talking about modern movies, and I was done with it. I was like, done. Turn the channel. I only want to hear.
William Marshall in Blacula was very. He had a fantastic gravity to that role, which could have been very cartoonish. There are a few camp moments in it with Blacula, but for the most part, he's very sincere in that role, and it's exciting for that reason.
Absolutely.
It's scary. I do think it's a scary movie.
Well, and you know what? I think they took the second one a little more seriously than they took the first movie too. I think the second one seems to come across a little bit more seriously. But what's funny about those two movies, and of course the Yorga films, is that there's like these staple slow motion scenes with like these really goofy looking vampires with bad teeth, or a woman running down the hallway in slow motion. I know that's one of your favorite sequences.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. But
Juanita, I love when she comes back and she kills Alicia Cook Jr.
Right.
Who's a mortician.
Thank God someone finally did. He was on everything, right?
He dies in every movie he's in. Well, he didn't die in The Night Stalker.
Yeah.
He died in Messiah of Evil.
Yeah.
Off screen, but
absolutely.
Still.
Yeah. It's like he was a whipping boy for murder back in the day. So yeah. Brett's saying the prices are ridiculous nowadays. Yeah, they are. I mean,
yeah.
You go on and look at I'm not singling out Steel City Con, but Steel City Con is kind enough to put in print on the webpage what the cost is for the autographs. So you can go look at the autographs. They're so high, it's crazy. But then again, how much was Chevy Chase at this convention? Like $150 or $120, and he sold out all the autograph sessions, and then he signed for cash afterwards. And when you're paying for someone like him to show up, or Kristen Brinkley, they're not going to charge $40. I mean, they're going to charge a lot of money. So Pittsburgh, Steel City Con in Pittsburgh is big names now. If you're not from the Pittsburgh area, check out Steel City Con, because they're bringing Mia Farrow here in August. What the fuck is that about? Did you see?
Wow.
Did you see her listed? You know, Mia Farrow.
No, I didn't.
She's never done.
How much does she want for an autograph?
I have no idea, but I'm sure that she won't sign anything with her daughter or Woody Allen on it. I'm sure, you know. So there's going to have to be like there's probably going to be stuff in her you know, in her agreement about, you know, people in situations involving like, you know, that, because she just did that HBO documentary series, which was very successful. But I mean, you know, we saw Chevy Chase and we saw Christine Brinkley at this past show. They're getting some really big names that I haven't even seen listed at Chiller Expo in Parsippany, New Jersey, which is sort of like the Super Bowl of conventions. You know, it's unbelievable the people that they've had signed there, and this is really putting Pittsburgh on the map. So I'm really happy to see that a local convention is getting these huge names that you would never consider. I mean, I about died.
You know, last week Sam was talking about there was a virtual signing for Sylvester Stallone. And I'm not sure which convention or how you arranged for this, but you know, you got to he would sign something for you on camera. I guess he had like photos or something, but you would talk to him virtually on camera for like a short period of time, and it was like $2,500.
Yeah, they've been doing that for a while. I forget the name of the company that does it. I wanted to address what Toasty Buff said here about paying for a photo after an autograph. Yeah, it's obscene to me that, you know, I worked in the business for a lot of years with a lot of celebrities, and I'm still doing it. And I've assisted a lot of big name people and met them, and I'm still doing it. And I'll tell you what, I still cringe at the fact when they don't include a photo with the autograph and somebody wants a selfie and they want to charge $40 for it. I mean, it's a sign of the times, because people have inflated this whole you know, thing on eBay by charging outrageous. That's
right.
It started. Assholes on eBay.
That's why people are asking for this much
Correct.
money. I wanted to say this. You know, it's because they have a signed item. Like if you bring your one sheet to the convention and have them sign it for $25,
correct,
they know that you could turn around and sell it for a couple hundred.
Right, and you know enough celebrities too to know what our friends who we know have gone through when they do appearances. Plus, the other thing you guys aren't taking into consideration are, you know, the agreements for these celebrities appearing and stuff. You know, when you get a you know, the contract for them. You know, they may want, like, let's just say they want $3,000 to come in, which is, you know, that would not probably be the case, but say they want $3,000 to come in. So, you know what, you're entering into an agreement here that as a promoter, you're going to pay the difference of that $3,000. So, you know, if they're worth $3,000, you know, and they sell $1,500 worth of autographs in 3 days, that comes out of your pocket at the end. You know, that's how this works. So, you know, you need to think about that, because if they're not charging a larger sum of money, then the promoter is the one that ends up hurting in the end with the guarantee. That's how this works. So, you know, some of these people coming into Steel City Con have got to be like $20,000. You know, and think about that though. If you guys think about how much you sell, okay, so say I sell $50 autographs. Every time I sell 10 of them, that's $500. It's not hard to hit, you know, $10,000 in 2 days at a convention. It really isn't, you know, if you have a steady stream of customers. But this is how this works, you know. And if it's outside the United States, the promoter has the right to say, I want 10 or 15 or 20% of the net profit. So in the United States, they're not allowed to do that. So there's so much that goes into this, you know, it's unbelievable, besides, you know, getting free pictures, you know. But I still think pictures should be free. You know, I think that.
Yeah, it's still a little bit unfair to pass that along to the fan who just wants, you know, to get their one sheet signed. Like, how do you tell the difference?
Well, I don't want to mention names, but there was an actress at this past Steel City Con that wanted $70 for a photograph, and she would not even allow you to take a picture of her signing your autograph. She was that strict about it. If people took photos, she wanted them deleted, or she wanted paid $70.
Linda Blair, yeah, she definitely capitalized on that. And you know, I guess you got to do something, right?
I met Linda a couple times. She's special. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Hey, I have some stuff to look at before we go to our first film.
Do it.
There's no ad gallery, because, you know, this movie was never released in the United States, and the best I could do is show some like video covers, and they're all just sort of like, you know, paste up stuff. So instead, I'm just going to do some cool ads that I came across. Some of these have recently appeared on my Facebook page, Groovy Doom, and others I just pulled out of the archive. These are some AKAs that I like. I love movies that are also alternate titles, also known as. So, do you know what movie this is, Gene? Lisa?
Oh boy.
It's more well known under another title. This is from 1974, the original release of the film. Yes, it is Axe.
Round two.
In 1977, this was reissued as Axe by Harry Novak, who really had nothing to do with it. And look, at the same time, it was The Wizard of Gore. Ooh. Here's another great AKA, Night of the Zombies. Now, and this is sort of like a cheat because it's an AKA, but it's not the way you're thinking. This is, of course, there was a movie that came out in 1983. In the States, it was known as Night of the Zombies, and that was Hell of the Living Dead,
right.
AKA Virus. Well, this is not that movie. This is another Night of the Zombies. This is the one by Joel Reed, who made Bloodsucking Freaks.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's the one with I think they're Nazi zombies in it. I haven't seen it in like a really long time.
I don't remember that one either. The only Nazi zombie film I remember is the one from Jean Rollin, where they fall into this pond and
Zombie Lake.
Yeah, and the pond ends up being like a swimming pool with with walls. Oh my God. Terrible.
Because that can happen. Yeah. Well, this isn't that movie. This is Night of the Zombies, a very obscure, ultra low budget movie made by Joel Reed of Blood-Sucking Freaks fame. And here's something that I know will get a couple screams. Okay.
Is that Billie Jean?
Yes. more commonly known as The Legend of Billie Jean. This is sort of like a preview of what's coming up on the Groovy Doom page because I found this in Hartford. I haven't posted it yet.
Lots of good stuff from Hartford, actually.
Yeah. Well, apparently it was also released to theaters under this alternate title, Fair is Fair. And they say that a couple times.
The sequel is called Love is a Battlefield.
You leave this house.
That was bad.
So who knew? I didn't know.
Right.
Here's another one. This isn't really an AKA either. Well, it is technically. This is from 1979 because originally I Dismember Mama was originally a film called Poor Albert Little Annie.
Right.
That was released in 72.
Right.
Somebody else picked it up. Harry Novak picked it up and reissued it as I Dismember Mama with the Blood Spattered Bride as the co-feature.
Right.
Now, this is from 79. So it was reissued again in the late 70s. 79, the year of horror.
With additional footage, right? With new footage added or?
No.
Okay.
No, there's no new footage in I Dismember Mama.
Okay.
Which really, it's not the film that title might lead you to believe that it is, but it is a really genuinely disturbing film. And it just gives me the creeps every time I see it. Jerry Reichel is in it, Fake Jan.
Yeah, I have a friend who's actually best friends with her.
Yeah.
She's appearing at Chiller Theater Expo next month or whatever, by the way.
And the Mad Butcher is also known as Meat is Meat, as George pointed out.
Right.
And there's also this one that I found. It's an even better combination.
Oh my God.
I Dismember Mama with Zombie.
But why would you want to even stay after watching Zombie? How could you sit through I Dismember Mama? I mean,
I don't know.
Is that when you're high and you can't drive or you're having sex? I mean, seriously, it's no comparison to the two of them.
The only thing that really holds up in I Dismember Mama, there are only a few moments even of any violence in I Dismember Mama.
Right.
And there's nothing really all that gross in it. But the only thing I can think of is maybe they showed it first.
Yeah.
Hopefully they showed that before they showed Zombie, because everybody would surely go home after 5 minutes of I Dismember Mama.
Right. Absolutely.
So that's it. Billie Jean.
Billie Jean.
What did you say?
Good stuff as always, Bill.
Oh, right on. I'm glad you think so.
Well, I'm just saying you put a lot of work into what you do, and it really shows. I mean, I know other people have said that, but I want to say it to you on air. Your work is absolutely amazing. It's beyond anything I ever expected. And I'm not saying that like, I didn't expect anything. I'm just saying it just gets.
I didn't either.
It's amazing. Good stuff. Great stuff.
Thanks. I've taught myself how to do a lot of this stuff, like making the trailers.
Yep.
But it's not as hard as I thought it was. It was pretty easy to pick up, and I have a lot of fun doing it. So I'm not going anywhere. In fact, Sam and I have some great projects coming out that we cannot talk about because none of it has been officially announced. But we've been teasing it on this program, and we will continue to tease it. So I want to see I Dismember Zombie as well, David. I mean Bob. I mean David.
Bob.
I mean Bob.
God. Bob.
All right. So anything else we should mention before we get into Sweet Home?
No, I'm excited again. I didn't just watch these films or anything. That I'll be joining you guys to watch them as well tonight. So good stuff.
Yes, it is. It is a commentary that's coming up, David. So we'll announce it as soon as we're allowed to. And in the meantime, let's get to our first feature, shall we?
Tuscadome.
All right.
Tuscadome.
So I posted the link on Groovy Doom. Go watch it now. This is English subtitles, so make sure you turn on your English subtitles. You have to on the link I posted. And I hope it doesn't scare anyone off, because we can all read here, correct? So come back after the movie. We'll have lots more to talk about on the Drive-In Asylum double feature. Sam will be here, and so will Gene. So come back.